Welcome to the Schmoopydady streaming experience. I'm your host, as per usual, Schmoopydady. In case the first time you're watching one of my videos, I'm a monthly Hearthstone Wild Legend player who typically hits Legend first a month, and after that I goof off. When I goof off, I tend to play your decks. And yeah, I hate doing set reviews. I actually put off doing set reviews for a long time until friend of the stream, Heaven's Door, said, Dad, can you do a set review, please? Dad. So I try to make them short. I try to make them sarcastic. I try to make them wild focused because we are a wild stream, and so we are going to talk about these cards' relevance in wild. Let's start with Arisen Onyxia for DK. So here's the funny thing about the Herald mechanic. It's hard to judge how you're going to get what the actual new mechanics end up looking like, especially something like Herald where things are being generated, sometimes mana's getting cheated, sometimes tempo's getting pushed, and you have to kind of like look into the future as to whether or not the Herald in question is worth the amount of effort that you're putting into it. But it can be hard to see play out. Watching a fair amount of the theory crafting streams today, I'm going to say that the nice thing about the DK Herald is how tempo forward it is. Not only when we Herald Arisen Onyxia are we producing a soldier who will ramp up in stats as we continue to Herald, but also she produces minions that cost health instead of mana, and so that's more free tempo if you're willing to take your HP and mortgage it like a resource. So Arisen Onyxia herself is a 9-mana 3/6. Colossal 2, when your hero would lose health on your turn, gain that much max health instead. And her wings, which are 1-mana 1/1s, which do ramp as you herald, so their stats will increase. When summoned, get a random 2-cost minion. Again, this will go up and up and up. A maximum of, I think it goes twice. I don't know. I'm not sure what the last minion is that ends up getting summoned, but you get the point is if you don't care about your health, it's functionally free tempo. I really like this card, not necessarily on its own merits. 9 mana is really expensive for this specific effect. What I think is more plausible for Arisen Onyxia is if, let's say, the Herald effect, the effect of her wings that gets triggered by the Herald effects, if that's good enough to run in DK for the free tempo and the resources, she's going to be worth running. It's almost like running Genrabaku, right? Like, except instead of the hero power you're getting value for, you're getting value because this minion is, or like, you know, again, another example is like Galakrond, right? Like, you might not end up ever drawing Galakrond to end up doing the thing, but the invoke, when you're invoking Galakrond, ends up producing enough of whatever you need to do the thing. So I think Arisen Onyxia has an interesting Herald, and so that might make it worth running her even if she's not quite good enough on her own merits. I will say, though, that most of DK in Wild right now is being experimented between, it's either like triple Unholy, aggro-y, plaguey, low to the ground, aggressive build that way, or some sort of slop pile. The two most common runes right now are Rainbow, because we have efficient corpse spenders that end up ramping up Climactic Necrotic Explosion, and Double Blood Unholy, because Double Blood allows you to run Corpse Explosion, which for my money is one of the most important clears that DK has. Now that we're getting Threads of Despair partially reverted, and that'll be a different video, that's not quite the same case, but you get my point. Corpse Explosion is an important card, and we can run it with 2 bloods. Victor Nefarious. This is actually going to be a 4-mana 4/4 Victor Nefarious. Battlecry if you're holding a dragon. Craft an undead, custom undead dragon. It costs 3 less. The funny thing about this card that I saw today is I saw mostly undeads discovered. I mean, it ends up producing an undead dragon, but like the pool that you're discovering from, I think, is undeads and dragons, or mostly undeads. I don't know. I saw mostly undeads. Most undeads don't have taunt and don't have rush, but some do. A lot of them have sort of death rattles that end up doing a thing, and so it will take on the dragon that it makes will take on the effects of the zombies in a zombies type way, the thing that you're combining together. I think the best comparison to this is probably Elise, where you're taking your turn 4 to do a thing, and hopefully that thing is influential enough that it ends up swinging the board. I don't think this is going to be. I think this is going to be like a fun slot pile type card you run because it's cool and the diamond looks beautiful, but I don't think it's going to be quite good enough in Wild. But it's interesting. Chromatic Broodmother. I think on its own merits, this is fine to just run. It's a 4-mana, 2/5. It does take 1 Frost and 1 Unholy Rune. It has Rush. Whenever this attacks, refresh mana crystals equal to this minion's attacks. I would play this straight up in a Rainbow DK. I think it's good tempo. It's great mana cheat. Even if you never even buff the attack, like you play this on 5, you get to do a 7-mana play functionally. Like I think this is a fun minion to have and good enough to run. And what's great is you can even draw it off of Curator, and you might not even be mad about that. The downside that I'm looking at, or not even the downside, but the other aspect that I'm looking at is I look at this minion as the start of the possibility of seeing maybe combo in DK. DK has control, DK has aggro, but DK does not really have any kind of combo, and so I look at Chromatic Broodmother as a possible piece, along with Gruesome Nightmare, which is a 3-mana 3/3. Battlecry, give a minion in your hand or battlefield attack equal to this minion's attack. Depending on the combo you're coming with, I look at these two as sort of similar, in the similar vein of maybe we're getting pieces that we can put combo together in DK, and it's not all about tempo or removal. Maybe. This card, unlike the last card, I don't think is very good. I don't think it's great on its own. But it's an interesting piece to just keep an eye on. Chow Down is an 8-mana spell with 2 Unholy Runes. Summon 5 for Undead Drakes. Spend 8 corpses to give them a rush. Very expensive for the effect. I feel like I have to have 8 corpses when I play this because I need those dragons to have rush in the format of Wild. This card is going to be I am predicting an absolute monster in Arena because that's a lot of bodies and a lot of tempo, and you usually have the corpses to give them rush right away. But yeah, I don't know. It's especially that arrangement. I feel like it's going to be the top end of something like an Unholy even DK, and I don't think this is good enough for that. You have other 8-mana plays that are more powerful than this. Talanji's Last Stand, I think, is really interesting. It's a 5-mana spell that has 2 Unholy Runes. Give your minions Death Rattle, summon a random 4-cost minion. This can make your boards really sticky, but it's 5 mana. I know they're really they've priced it properly, probably, but I really want to cheat this in some way, and I don't think there's any good way to cheat this. So is this good enough on its own to be its own turn? Just turn 5, anything that's still on the board, you're giving it a Death Rattle that it will stick. It seems kind of win more. I don't think it's very good. Blackwing Experiment. Death Rattle. Get a 2-cost spell that deals this minion's attack. Damage. Okay, it's a weird way to word it, or I just can't read. One of the two. It's a 2-mana 3/1 Undead Dragon, and it uses 1 Frost Rune. This looks like an insta slot into Rainbow DK for me. My thought is okay, yeah, throw this down, and it's a body, right? It's a body. It gets traded into. It dies. It gives you a 2-mana deal 3, which can be offensive. It can go face, or you can use it instead on a minion with 3 health, which is honestly a pretty nice breakpoint at this point in aggro. So I like this a lot as a 2-drop, nice and aggressive, and also it's a dragon, and also it does a thing. It's good value. This card is really weird and kind of cool. I'm kind of about it. I'm interested to play with it to see if it's really going to be worth. Experimental Animation is a 6-mana, 2 Blood Rune spell. It heralds Onyxia. That means it's going to make a soldier, right? Starts as a 1/1 soldier of Onyxia that also, when it's summoned, gets you a random 2-cost minion that costs health this turn instead of mana. So that's going to ramp up. But also it's dealing 4 damage to all enemy minions. 6 mana is a lot for this, but you get a lot in return. I'm really interested to see how well this does in Standard. And if it's good enough in Standard, people might start sniffing it in Wild. If I'm playing Onyxia, I definitely look forward to this as being one of the cards that I definitely want to play because it's so cool. Obsessive Technician is a 4 mana 2/5 to Blood Rune minion, no tribe or anything, has lifesteal and heralds Onyxia. So again, you're producing a soldier. The soldier is ramping up as you go, while also getting a more expensive minion that you can play for health this turn instead of mana. And oh, by the way, she has lifesteal, so she can keep chipping away at the health that you're giving away by playing that minion for health. Command Claw is a 2 mana 2/2 weapon. It uses 1 Unholy Rune. After your hero attacks, give a random friendly minion +2 attack. You don't get to choose the minion. You can screw up the order and end up -2ing attack fairly frequently. I really like this card. This card's really cool in like an aggressive sense. And what's nice is the attack is permanent. The attack is permanent, but when in doubt, you could always just slap it on a charger because of your hero power, right? So I think this is really cool. Okay. So DK, we have some things to play with. Some people are going to be like, DK unplayable. I think the Herald's really cool, and I'm excited to play around with that, especially with some cards that we have that already sort of have synergy with DK when its health changes. All right. Ashara, Ocean Lord. She has Colossal 2. She gives your hero Wind Fury, and she's an 8 mana 8/8 with 2 appendages. Her appendages, when summoned, give your hero +1 attack. They start as 1 mana 2/1s and scale up. Okay, reminder, when she is Herald, she's one of the Heralds that does produce a soldier that does produce this effect, giving your hero attack. So unheralded, she's basically giving you 4 damage. When it's direct from your hero, because your hero has Wind Fury, but as you ramp up, that burst can become somewhat significant. I don't see her really in having a home in Wild unless you absolutely want to play her as top end in like Reno DH. Is she good enough for top end in Reno DH? Maybe, I don't know. It's not the first place I'd look, but you could do worse. Okay. Nispara, Enthralled, is a location. When the location breaks, you get the legendary Nispara, Unshackled. After you cast a Fel spell, get a random Naga. It costs 1. Okay, deal 1 damage is the location's text. After you cast a Fel spell, reopen, Death Rattle, summon the girl. All right, and it's got 5 durability. So we got to get through 5 durability with this thing. Where am I going to play it in Wild? If I'm going to play it anywhere, I'm probably going to play it in no minion. No minion DH, right? I play a bunch of Fel spells. I can maybe get some free Nagas after I play a bunch of Fel spells. Is that good enough to run this card? Probably not, but somebody will because it's fun. Malevolent Mutant is a 3 mana 3/4 with Battle Cry. Choose your Fel spell and choose a Fel spell in your hand. Get a copy of it, and it's a Naga. I do not think we play this in Naga DH. I think 3 mana is kind of infinite. It's nice when you can play this and choose to copy Predations or something like that as setup, or you could copy Mana Burns. It's just 3 mana is so expensive. It's already brutal that the Sharpshooters cost 3 mana, and now we have to do like this as well. I don't see it, but you know what? We are playing a couple cards that are not ideal in Naga DH, and so maybe this might be better than one of those in like card 29, card 30. You could possibly convince me of that, but otherwise I don't really see it. Fel Infusion, Herald. So reminder, when this heralds, it makes a soldier that starts as a 1 mana 2/1 that gives your hero 1 attack. So you're getting 1 attack, you're heralding Ashara, you're getting the soldier, and your hero has lifesteal this turn. That's a lot of keywords, and it's Fel, so it does get repeated. I think this is a pretty good spell. I'm excited to play with this one. I think it slots into maybe Maybe Reno DH. Definitely maybe no minion. I don't know. I would play around with this. I'm not sure where I want to put it. But it's a lot of value for 2 mana. Ravenous Fel Fisher costs 1 less for each Fel spell you've cast this game. I don't know what deck wants this. To be honest, is this good enough to go in Questline DH? Do we run enough Fel spells? Mana Burn is Fel, and Sigil of Time is Fel, and there's a couple of other little Fel spells here and there. But it's hard to make this 0, I think. So, not for me, but, like, okay. You never put it in Naga DH because it's way too expensive, right? So it's like, might be fine in Arena. Flash Flood I really like. Deal 5 damage to your opponent's left and rightmost minions. Outcast, do it again. What's really cool is if you've got like 1 minion and you play this card, you're dealing at least 10 damage to it. So that's kind of fun. But also I like the idea of like you've got a row of 4 health minions that your opponent's running, and you rip this and you deal 5 to the side and then 5 again to take out the 2 in the middle. For 5 mana, you'd take that. This seems like a Reno DH core. DH clear to me if there's ever been one. Broxgar's Last Stand. People are going to build around this card. It reads as a 2 mana spell that deals 1 damage to all minions. Draw a card for each that died. So like we could play like a token DH and make a bunch of little shitters and then blow them up with Broxgar's Last Stand, and like we have enough mana to also, once we've drawn 1 billion cards, to play Cycle of Hatred to draw 1 billion more cards. Like this is a really cool card. People are going to build around it. I'm excited to play it. Dread Leviathan is a 9 mana 9/6 taunt. Battlecry. Choose an enemy minion to steal health from 3 times. 3 health from it 3 times. Seems really big and annoying, and I'm going to lose to it in Arena and be upset. At least it has taunt, but seems too expensive to me. If you're talking about Cattle Rustler as a way to cheat this out, I think you're losing the plot a little bit. Cool card. Okay effect. Not quite impactful enough for 9 mana, I think. A little bit narrow. Armored Bloodletter is a 3 mana 3/1 Naga with Rush, Battlecry, Herald Ashara. So remember, that's producing the soldier. The soldier is ramping up, so this will also give you attack as you go. I think it's a lot of value for 3 mana. I think it's a good card. Sigil of the Seas, 1 mana at the start of your next turn. Summon a 3/3 Naga with taunt. Okay. Like, I think that's, I mean, you'd pay 1 mana for a 3/3 with taunt. It's a little passive. I don't know where we're playing it, but, like, it's fine. Don't hate it. Wickerfang. Wickerfang is interesting. This is a Druid Colossal. It has Colossal 4. After each one of Wickerfang's legs gains stats, this also gains them too. And the Wickerfang's legs all say at the end of your turn, gain +1/+1, and they start as 1 mana 0/2s. There's no taunt, there's no rush, it's a pile of stats. I feel like its impact is going to be pretty minimal, but it is a lot of stats. This would have been really cool as top end in like an old school token druid in like Barons. Now I realize that that kind of token druid is functionally overtaken now by Treant Druid, but it's just too expensive for Treant Druid. I don't really want to play it in that. So, yeah, you could play it in your slot piles. You could play it in Natural Communion. This is probably pretty cool to get down on turn 2. But, yeah, scaling threats that scale at the end of the turn, not doing it for me. Marithra of the Dream. Somebody's going to explain to me in the comments. I'm not going to care. Battlecry. Fill your hand with the random dragons. If you spent 25 mana while holding this, they cost 1. It is a dragon. It's an 8 mana 4/12 dragon. Okay, so it is a dragon. It's got that dragon tag. It does activate several dragon-specific effects that exist in Wild, like Desert Nest Matron, like Breath of Dreams. Okay, great. 25 mana is a lot. Random dragons aren't great. This is a Timmy greed card. It's going to be fun to play. I don't think it's going to be super useful. It's probably an absolute monster in Arena. You drafted this in Arena, I bet you feel like a king or queen or tween. I don't know what the non-binary people do, but like I could see this being like, oh look, my druid has no mana and then has no resources. Then you drop this sucker, and it's like, holy crap. Brood Watcher is a 4-mana 4/5 battle cry. Get 2/3/3 whelps with taunt. If you spent 8 mana while holding this, summon them. It's not hard to spend 8 mana. I'm thinking like Coin Ramp Spell, Desert Nest Matron. You're dropping this on turn 3, and you've made 2/3/3 taunts as well as a Yeti. I think that's pretty good. I'm really hoping though that there is some sort of like mid-range dragon druid that's out there that's worth playing. It's probably not worth playing, but I'm gonna play it anyway because it sounds like fun. This would be an important card in that if that ends up being the thing. Ashar's Triumph, 1 mana, shuffle 5 random minions to your deck that cost 8 or more and double their stats. God, this is going to really suck in Constructed, but in Arena, it's going to be really fun and cool and poggers, and I'm here for it. Wildwood Circle. Shatter. So that you draw the card and the 2 pieces split on either side of your hand. If they are able to come together again, then they will have both effects combined. So this Shatter card says summon 2/2/2 Treants, give your minions a death rattle, summon a 2/2 Treant, and they shatter so that one side is landscaping and the other side is Soul of the Forest. Landscaping and Soul of the Forest are not cards that are good enough to play on their own in Treant Druid as currently constructed. I can imagine a scenario where the shatter effect is actually really annoying and overdraws you more cards than you should because you draw the card shatters, God forbid you play a second copy of this thing, and now you went from drawing 6 cards to you have too many cards and you're overdrawing a couple. I don't think it's good enough. I think it might be good enough for the Imbue version because you might want to make more Treants, and it's not always easy to do that. You might want the Soul of the Forest to make your, little green dudes a little bit stickier. But yeah, I don't see it in normal Treant Druid, and so it's only a maybe an Imbue. I think we have better options. Felwood Treant, Battle Cry. Gain a temporary mana crystal. If you spend 4 mana while holding this, it's permanent. I don't think this is worth it either. I don't know. I see a lot of people being like, oh no, look, Treant, it's 2 mana, but it's really 1 mana. I don't like paying 1 mana for a Treant. I think this makes Floop worse. Like, you don't want to play a 4 mana copy of this that has the same effect. I don't think you do. I don't think it's good enough. You might see play in Reno Druid, but like I'm skeptical of that. Moss Binding. It's a 2 mana. It's 2 mana, nature, summon 2 1/2 golems, spend all your mana to give them +1/+1 for each mana spent. Looks like shit. Iridescent Flutterwing, 5 mana 4/5, elusive dragon. At the end of your turn, give your other minions +1/+1. This is going to be really annoying to try and remove. At the same time, you don't impact your board right away. You impact your board later. It's an interesting discover. I don't know if I want to play it in my deck on purpose. Crystal Pine Cub. It's a 1 mana 1/2. Whenever you spend your last mana crystal, gain +1/+1. What's cool about this card, and that's worth noting, is it has to be on the board for the effect to trigger. So you can't just play it and get a 1 mana 2/3 on 1. That's not how it works. But you could play it, coin, play the second one, and now you have a 1 mana 2/3 and you have a 1 mana 1/2. And if you play a 2 on curve next turn, now you're going to have a 3/4 and a 2/3. It scales in an interesting way, and in a format where we have Bloom and Vate and Bioproject, I wouldn't necessarily count it out as far as not being something kind of interesting that we can build around. But right now, does it have a home? Not really. Forest Gift. Give a friendly minion +1/+1 for each minion you control. It's a nature spell. and it's 2 mana. I don't like this card because the decks that want to go wide and leverage what this thing has text for, those decks want a board buff. They don't want an individual buff. They want their buffs to go wide. They don't want their buffs to go narrow. I don't think this is very good. Mag Maw is the Colossal for Hunter, and it's Colossal 99. Summon any leftover appendages when there is room. It is a mech beast. It is 7 mana. It is a 2/12, and it's got little magma body parts that are 1 mana 2/1s that have Death Rattle, give a friendly minion +2 attack. This in Defile is going to be very funny. I see some people have looked at this and they say, look, Schmoopy, look, it's better Hydrolodon. You do not want to use this in the place of Hydrolodon. If you try to use this in, let's say, because like one of the places people jump to is like Leerox, Reno Hunter. You don't want to do that. What if this gets summoned first and doesn't leave any room for Tundra Rhino or the other beast in your hand to be summoned? This is not better Hydrolodon. This is different Hydrolodon. It's a lot of stats. It's super annoying. You can tutor it with Timeline Accelerator and play it for 5. I'm not saying it's not good, but I think it's going to be really interesting to figure out the best way to leverage it. All right. Abyssian? Battlecry, your dragons have rushed this game. When in hand, play a dragon to become a 12/12 dragon. So it could be a 7 mana 12/12 with the same effect. It also impacts itself, right? If it's giving your dragons a rush, it's also a dragon and also giving itself rush, which it doesn't do when it's a 7 mana 6/6. But in Dargon form, you're making a 7 mana 12/12 rusher. That's pretty freaking good. And oh, by the way, every other dragon that you play from here on out for the rest of the game will also have rush. That's also pretty freaking good. I don't know. This looks cool. This looks like cool as like top end for like a dragon hunter. The Discover package is not that bad. Right? We could play the Discover package. We could play the Jormungers package as the only beasts, and then we can fill out with dragons and dragon-related synergies. That sounds fun to me. This is one of the cards we're going to put in that deck. Even Scale Scout, Battlecry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack. It's a 6 mana 4/4, so it deals 4 at first. But if you play a dragon while it's in hand, it becomes a 6 mana 8/8 dragon to deal with the same effect. Battlecry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack. So if you brand it up, it deals 16, but otherwise it's dealing 8. I don't know. It's one of the cards you build around if you're going to build some sort of dragon hunter in Wild. Confront the Tol'vir is a 3 mana epic that reads, replay each 1-cost card you played this game, targeting enemies if possible. So I've seen people look at this as like a quest line hunter card. You play a bunch of 1-mana spells and then you rip this and you get like a bunch of damage all at once. And yeah, all right, that's fine. But I don't think it's as good as like the real thing that I think we do with this, which is stuff like Awakening Tremors, dropping the little Tremor Jormungers. Everything dies, play Confront to the Tol'vir, not only get more refill into hand, but also everything that you played on the board. And you can run 2 copies of it. And it's not that bad on curve. I don't know. This is a hell of a card that Hunter got. It reminds me of Shutterwalk in a lot of ways. Stone Talon Striker is a 3 mana 3/3 with Taunt, but if you play a dragon while you're holding it, it becomes a 6/6 dragon. It's pretty sick. If Dragon Hunter is a real deck, this is one of the most important cards of the deck, I think. I think the early tempo, like we Brightwing on 2, hello friend, we are friends now, and then you play this on 3, that's going to be like devastating to some decks. Tol'vir Carver. I've actually talked myself into liking this card. It doesn't have any type, but it's a 3 mana 3/2. Battlecry, choose a card in your hand. At the start of your turns, reduce its cost by 1. Let's say you pick Reno Lone Ranger when you play this on 3. It'll cost 7 turn 4. It'll cost 6 turn 5. It'll cost 5 turn 6. Cheated 2 turns out of it. I don't know, pretty okay to me. Maybe we play this in Reno Hunter because we can just pick our most expensive card and make it super, super, super freaking cheap. It's not the worst thing in the world. Somebody said Mally Hunter at first. I'm like, my God. It is a slow effect, but like you don't need that many hits in order for this to be worth it. So I don't need it. Earth and Roar. It's a 1-mana spell that sets an enemy minion's health to 1. If you're holding a dragon, pick another. Hunter's Mark is not good enough these days. Double Hunter's Mark seems also not good enough. I'm not sure it's good enough for Arena. Supply Run is, I think, the best Shatter card, or the Shatter card that I like the most. Well, no, it's not. It's not even close. The Paladin one is better. But this one's okay. What I look at with these Shatter cards is, in a lot of cases, the decks that they're going to go in, am I ever going to get to actually use the Shatter effect? Or am I playing the cards individually for their best purposes? So, for example, one side of it is draw 3 minions. I would absolutely, in Hunter, pay 4 mana to draw 3 minions. There's a lot of scenarios where that would work for me. Supply Run. Shatter. Give your minions in your hand +2/+2. Do I want to spend 4 mana to give minions in my hand +2/+2? Not really. Not really. If it was my hand and deck, maybe. Right? Maybe. That's a 4 mana Hope of Kel'Thuzad. Hand deck in Battlefield, maybe I'd do 4. Maybe that would have to be upped. I don't know. I don't like the I like the Supply Run enough to draw 3 that I might consider running it, but I'm not in love with the second half of it. So I don't know if it's really worth. Then again, you could always use the second half to buff up some Jormungers and send them along on a Rhino. So wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either, I guess. But man, I don't know. Sylvanas Triumph is a 2-mana, deal 3. If you played another copy of this, hit all enemies instead. So it comes a 3-mana AOE that also goes face. I think this card is broken. I think all we need is more and more and more and more ways to copy this card, and this card could be an actual meta problem. This card's really good. It's just, how many ways do we really have to copy this and leverage that? Not a ton. Reinforcement Rallier. It's a 1-mana 2/2 with Elusive. Would we play this over Snake Oil Salesman? Why not play it with Snake Oil Salesman? It's a really strong 1-drop. It can't get targeted or picked off by a hero power unless your opponent's going to hit you with their face. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of this. When I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's fun. That's fun for an aggressive deck. It's fun for like Reno Hunter. We would take those. Yeah, good card. Volcanos is disappointing. It's a 7-mana 4/8 with Colossal 2. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other minions. So it doesn't hit itself, but it does hit itself. Whenever this takes damage, get a random fire spell. It costs 3 less. These are its limbs, which are 2-mana 1/4s. Here's the thing about Elemental Mage. When we play Elemental Mage, we want our board. We don't want to blow up our board. We don't want to hit our board for 2 AOE. That wipes out like half of our board. So this seems bad in Elemental Mage, but I don't want to pay 7 mana for it. Like, I'm not happy if I drop it for 7 mana in any deck, let alone Elemental Mage. 2 AOE doesn't do enough. I don't think the fire spells are valuable enough. I think it's just kind of like meh. It's a good way to describe this card. Meh. Archmage Kalek. Battle Cry. Give all spells in your hand and deck +1 spell damage, and it's a 4-mana 4/4 and a legendary. Yeah, all right. I like that it's all spells and not just arcane spells. It's not class tied. It's just like any spell. Give it +1 spell damage. People will run this specific decks. It's gonna be pretty good. Unstable Fellcaster. It's a elemental with +1 spell damage. It's a 4 mana 2/5, and it says Battle Cry. If you dealt damage with a spell this turn, summon a copy of this. That's a really weird condition to meet. and it means you're missing damage in order to trigger the spell damage. You have to like play your spell and then play the unstable Felcaster and then hope that they stick in order to get benefit from the spell damage. I don't know. That just seems weird to me. I think it's going to be a fine discover when it's cheap off of like Inferno Herald or something like that. I'm not convinced it's going to be worth outside of that kind of scenario. Conjuration Specialist is a 3-mana 3/4. Battlecry, choose a spell in your hand, split it into 2 random spells for the same cost. You know where this is going to go great? Luna's Pocket Galaxy Mage. We can select Luna's Pocket Galaxy and we can turn it into 2 7-mana spells that are more useful than LPG. Syndragosa's Triumph. I see this is not getting great ratings here, but all right, I think this card might be sneaky good. 5 mana, deal 8 damage to a minion. Reduce the cost of a random card in your hand by the excess damage. So hear me out for a second. Let's say you spend your turn 5 nuking something with 1 health with this card. Next turn, you can play your Reno Lone Ranger for 1 mana. I think depending on how greedy your deck is, and how much you would benefit from the reduction in cost, this gets more and more interesting as like a combo enabler. Like it's not great as just like its single target removal, but if you then win the game the next turn because of what you discounted with this, I think it's going to make it worth. I don't know. I think people are going to try it in like slow mage decks first. It says a minion, it can target your own stuff, which is a little bit spooky if you were going to say, let's say, like start hazarding a guess as to whether or not you want to play it in Hostage Mage. But, so you wouldn't want to repeat it, but you could do it once. I don't know. It's probably too niche. It's probably too narrow, but I think the mana cheat involved gives it a dimension that's kind of hard to... It's a dimension that's hard to fully comprehend and probably varies a lot on deck construction. Arcane Flow. It's a 4-mana shattered card that's arcane. It deals 4 damage or it deals 2 damage to all enemies. And when it's shattered, it's those 2 things. What's funny is you might... I don't know... I feel I'd play like I would play this in Secret Mage over Fireball in a heartbeat, right? Like, when they're together, if you dump your hand, like when they're like, it's like a Fireball that also has 2 AOE to the board. That's not bad. This probably is bad though. I think you gotta like pair this with some spell damage, but 4 mana is a pretty steep hill to overcome. Raincaller I actually think is pretty okay. A 2-mana 1/4 elemental. The first time you deal damage with a spell each turn, gain +2 attack, and that's permanent. So, you know, you start with a little 2/1/4, but it's got 4 health. It sticks around for a while, and Elemental Mage does deal damage. I don't know. I think you sniff it. It looks like it could be pretty good tempo. Spellweaver's Brilliance, I thought when I initially read the card, was useless. Because I imagine the face, the damage that you deal has to go to the face. It summon a 6/6 dragon, vanilla 6/6 dragon. Costs 1 less for each damage you dealt with spells this turn. So if you play a Flame Strike and you hit 2 minions, this costs 0. So like AoE does count. So like AoE blow up into dropping this for 0, 6/6, is that good enough? Or 2 6/6s, is that good enough? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not convinced that at that stage of the game, that's really what wins. It would have to be like a really cheap spell that ends up being worth it to make this down to 0. If we're playing on this on like, if we're playing a couple of these on like turn 4 or something, now you're talking. Sleet Storm, deal 2 damage, deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion. It's a 1-mana frost spell. Good value, and what's nice is you can go face aggressively with this, and if you've got spell damage going, you can maybe start to count on it taking out your enemy's board while you're also dealing face damage. Winter Spring Whelp is a 1-mana 1/2 dragon. Battlecry, discover any 1-cost spell from any class. I could see this being good because 1-cost spells are pretty okay. Great in Arena kind of deal. Maybe worth it in a limited pool. I could see it being okay. Chromatus is an 8/8 Colossal +4 that has Taunt, Lifesteal, Elusive, and Devised Shield, and each of the limbs are one of those aspects, whether it's Taunt, Divine Shield, Elusive, and they're all River Crocs. They're all 2-mana 2/3s with those extra little keywords. So you have a really interesting choice when this thing hits the deck. When this thing hits the deck, it's going to be a giant pain in the butt to remove. Do we want to attack the central body first and then leave the limbs a little bit more useless? Or are we going to chip away at the whims so that the body has less and less text as it goes? I don't know, fam. It's going to be hard to kind of manage and deal with. I think it probably loses to people who are efficient traders. And I don't know what deck you jam it in, but like it seems like it's going to be a pile of stats all at once. Nozdormu, Broaden's Aspect. It's a 5-mana 4/4. At the end of your turn, give your minions Divine Shield. Any that already have one, gain +3/+3 instead. Make note that it can give itself Divine Shield, meaning that it can eventually start buffing itself. Especially in a class that has access to Torith, I think this is an interesting card, and maybe coming to a call to arms Paladin near you. Bronze Redeemer is a 5-mana 3/3. At the end of your turn, summon a dragon with stats equal to this minion. What's nice is you could buff this up and have this hit the board, and it's going to keep pooping out a dragon every end of your turn, forever and ever and ever, until they remove it. I think 5 mana is a little slow. I think it might be a good arena card. I don't think it's good for Wild, especially because the dragons are so vanilla. They don't even have keywords. Flight Maneuvers, I think, is probably the best Shatter card that I've seen. It either summons 2 4/2 Drakes, or it gives your minions +1/+1 and Divine Shield. I think I'd pay 4 mana for either of those effects. But that magical time that you get them both together, that would be incredible. The Divine Shield one is especially useful in a scenario where you've got Nozdormu outright. Geblin's Triumph, you pay 1 mana, you pay a 1-mana tax to get a random aura that you don't control, and it lasts an additional turn. Not really excited for it. It might be okay in Arena, but I actually have some doubts because there are some auras that are just not worth. Spearheart Sentry is a 4-mana 3/4. At the end of your turn, get a random holy spell, reduce its cost by 3. Now to get an Arena, Garbo, and Constructed. Sand Fury Arena aura. Your minions' end of turn effects trigger twice. Last 3 turns. Hello, Mark Makes. It's holy, so you can tutor it. 3 mana is not that expensive. Scalebreaker Bulwark kind of makes me sad, though, because I feel like this card is designed with the aura and the weapon priced in. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all enemies. It's a 6-mana 3/6. It's kind of got soft taunt because, like, you don't want to leave this up. You don't want to be taking 2 every turn just over and over and over and over again. So you attack into it, but I feel like with this effect, it doesn't have to cost 6 mana. It costs 6 mana because of the Sand Fury aura. And it costs 6 mana because of Inspiring Maul. It's a 2-mana 2/2 weapon that has Death Rattle, trigger friendly minions end of turn effect. So like there's reasons why this is priced the way that it is, but I don't think the Scalebreaker Bulwark is good enough. Chamber of Aspects. Choose a minion in your hand and give it +2/+2. Man, I would have killed for this in hand buff ages ago. I don't know if it's good enough now. I guess it's pretty good. You play it on 2. You pick your Samuro. You drop your Samuro on 4 after you've buffed it twice. And now your Samuro is a 5/10 that deals 5 AoE because it doesn't die when it trades into something. That could be pretty good, actually. The Black Blood. We have Behemoth at home, dear. Okay, more seriously, though, I think it's like Behemoth, but different. It's a 7 mana 4/8 Colossal +3. After you restore health to a character, attack a random enemy minion. So let's say the first Black Blood body triggers. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to a random damaged friendly character. My face is damaged. 3 health triggers. Wee wee. Now the Black Blood attacks. Bonk. Bonks into something, clears it out. The second tentacle interacts. Black Blood's body. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to a random damaged friendly character. Maybe it heals Black Blood. Doo-doo. Goes and attacks something. Then the next one goes. So like there's I could see it being actually pretty cool as like a pseudo board clear along with tempo. Along with healing, along with a significant amount of healing. But maybe not as good as Behemoth. 7 mana is a lot to ask. Alexstrasza, Guardian of Life, is a 7 mana 8/8 with Battlecry. Set your remaining health to 15. When you reach full health, deal 15 to your opponent. I think it's slow. I think it's bad. I know you could play this, and then you can play Reno and deal 15 to your opponent, but that just doesn't seem worth to me. Medivh's Triumph is a gross, busted card. Deal 4 damage to all minions. Cost 1 if you control a legendary card. If a quest is in play, yes, it costs 1. So I suspect that Reach Equilibrium will be the egg Warlock of the next expansion. This is one of the cards that it will be running. That's brand new. That gives it support so that it can just sort of, dome on aggro, and then when it has to play against anything that's a little bit more limited control-wise or a fast combo, it just sort of dies in the gutter, but it might farm aggro so efficiently that you got to play something else. I don't know. Medivh's Triumph, one of the cards that is going to be one of the best cards in Wild from this set, in my opinion. Cleansing Cleric. Battlecry, your healing effects restore 2 more health this game, and it's a Yeti. And a Draenei. Yeah, I don't know. I think there are probably going to be decks. There's probably going to be a deck that revolves around like a healing OTK. I think that one of those kind of decks does in fact exist someplace if you cook it. This might be an important card in that deck, but 4 mana is a lot for no actual effect right off the bat. Schism is terrible. It's a spell. It's a 4 mana shatter spell. Give a friendly minion +2/+3 in elusive and summon a copy of it. My opinion on this spell and all the shatter spells in general is like, if I look at the individual pieces, am I okay with paying their cost? Right? Or do I have to wait for them to come together? I feel like Schism has to come together for me to even consider it being worth using for 4 mana. I think currently constituted the individual, like, make a copy. Well, we could do that for 3 mana. We don't, and I give it Divine Shield. I know it's a 1/1, but still. Give it elusive and +3/+3. I'm not spending 4 mana for that. I don't know. I think together they might be a good deal. Apart, I would not do it. Injured Attendant. It's a 3 mana 3/8 with Lifesteal. Battlecry, deal 4 damage to this minion. Here's what's interesting. The minion is dealing damage to itself, and it has Lifesteal, which means that you heal for 4 when you play this minion. I'm not convinced this isn't like classic Curvestone Reno Priest gaming. Like, let's just throw Injured Attendant out there. We have no hope or want or need of ever healing it, but who cares? Because he's got a big butt, and if he does get healed, great. But the Lifesteal, the healing right off the bat to buy us time, this just seems like that would slot nicely into that deck. If he does, in fact, have Lifesteal and the damage he deals himself. But he should, I would think. Ruby Sanctum, your next healing effect this turn deals damage instead. Not bad. Any Tree of Life into Lethal enjoyers? I think some sort of OTK is going to come out of this thing. I think this is one of the locations, one of the cards to watch. Licensed Matriarch. People don't like this card. It's a 4 mana 3/3 at the end of your turn. If this is at full health, gain +3 health. People don't like this card, but like, I could see this spiraling out of control very quickly to a point where it's no longer practical trying to remove its health, because attacking it when it's only got like 3 health is not worth the damage that you're passing up to send face, which might be at lower health than like 12 health. So yeah, I think this is like, I think more annoying than people are going to give it credit for. I could see it doing really well in Arena. But also I get why people are not rating it highly. Purifying Breath deals 5 damage to a minion. If it dies, restore 5 health to the enemy hero. Maybe if the next, healing effect ends up dealing damage instead, maybe that's worth it. 2 mana Pyroblast. Half of it hits a minion, half of it goes face. That might be worth. You have to plan around it, though. Mend is gross. Restore a minion to full health, and then draw a card. And it's holy, and it's 1 mana. Powered Shield is back. And also busted. Sinestra. We're in Rogue now. Your spells from other classes cast twice. It's got Colossal 2. It's a 6 mana 5/5 dragon. And its wings are 1 mana 1/1s that also scale with Herald. And when they're summoned, they get a random spell from another class, and that costs 1 less. So if you herald it multiple times, the spells will cast cheaper, and they'll cast for double. This seems like a funny Timmy card. It's not so expensive that I'm never going to end up playing it. Seems like fun. I don't think it'll be good, but I think it'll be like scam you in like a casino mage kind of fun way. Isarath. It's a 5 mana 5/3 that has a battle cry of devour 2 random cards from the opponent's hand and then go dormant for 2 turns, and then your Death Rattle returns them. This is what Shadow Step died for, chat, so we could do this pointless thing. All right, Twilight Mistress is a 9 mana 4/12. Battlecry, return all enemy minions to their owner's hands. So it's like one-sided vanish on a dragon body. I would just play Reno Lone Ranger or Scabs personally. I don't think this is very good. Good in Arena, but not good here. Maniacal Follower is a 3 mana 3/1 stealth minion with Death Rattle Herald Sinestra. So the Death Rattle, not Battlecry to Herald Sinestra. But when he dies, he makes a Soldier of Sinestra, which is a dragon. They start as 1/1s. That, when they are summoned, get a random spell from another class, and it costs 1 less. So, like, you get the drill, right? Let's just keep making bodies and keep making random and go for it. I don't know. That could be a lot of fun. Chaos Supplicant, 4 mana 3/5. After you cast a spell, cast a random spell of the same cost from another class. There's a Mage 3-drop that casts a random spell for each cost of a spell that you cast while it's on board. That's actually very good in Arena, and wouldn't shock me if it was like okay fringe playable and constructed. This is a more expensive version of that with a few more conditions. I don't know if I'm convinced. Daze, return an enemy minion to its owner's hand. They can't play it next turn. It's Shadow, and it's 3 mana. Is sap worth running if you know that whatever you sap can't be played the turn after you sap it? My instinct says no, but I'm going to lose to it anyway. Rite of Twilight. Herald Sinestra. Combo. Deal 3 damage. It's Shadow, and it's 2 mana. So this makes a soldier. This deals damage if you combo it, and you end up getting a spell from a different class. Seems okay to me. I mean, we've already been doing imbue stuff, so strategies like Spectral Cutlass Rogue are not necessarily completely a pipe dream. This seems like that would be a good card in that kind of deck. Stolen Power, get a random Shatter card from another class. It's already combined. Already combined is good. Usually the Shatter cards together are kind of okay. I just think that a lot of the Shatter cards are not good enough. Even in the class that can play with prep. So, like, I would pass. Garona's Last Stand is a 2 mana tradable spell. Destroys a legendary minion. We can play a better version of this from Warlock, and even though that thing is temporary, this card really sucks. Agent of the Old Ones. So 1 mana 2/1 with a battle cry. Choose a card in your hand and transform it into a coin. People are saying that you could use this in like Miracle Rogue if you mega brick and just like need fuel. I don't know. I think maybe we did play with the Space Rock collectors in Miracle Rogue for a hot minute to make the combo cards cheaper and easier to pop off in combo, but yeah, I think we try it. I don't know if I'm convinced it's going to be good, though. Shaman, Alakir, Lord of Storms, Colossal +2, Rush, Wind Fury, Battlecry. Get 2 minions with cost equal to this minion's attack. They cost 1. And, oh, by the way, either sides of Alakir are arms. Say adjacent minions have +1 attack. So not just Alakir, but any minion next to Alakir's arm on the other side will also get a buff in attack. And oh yeah, Alakir has Wind Fury. And oh yeah, we can Herald and we can buff these things up. Could be fun, especially the amount of tempo swing with, like, you know, the minions you get cost 1. More chalk. 10 mana, 10/10, Battle Cry. Draw a card and replace and reduce its cost by 10. Repeat this process with excess cost reduction. Here's the thing about more chalk. We can play versions of Elemental Mage that bounce discounters over and over again and make even the most expensive cards in your deck cost 1 or 0. In that scenario, this card dropped down is going to draw the entire deck. That could be very powerful. That could be a lot of stats all at once. It's already a 10/10. I don't think it's going to be worth the effort to build around it, though. So I think we can move on from it. Ascendance I really like. So it's transform all friendly minions into ones that cost 1 more. So it's evolve, but also it's got, like, you know, a saddle up stapled to it. They summon the originals when they die. So depending on, like, what the cost of the minion is that you end up casting Ascendance on, the higher the cost of the minion, the more expensive they're, like, the more expensive the failsafe's going to be when that minion dies. I don't know. I like this a lot. I'm going to end up trying it in Evolve Shaman. Crackling Cloud Strider. Battlecry, choose a spell in your hand that costs 4 or less to absorb. Death Rattle, cast it. It's a 3 mana 4/3 elemental. I don't know what spells I really want to target with this other than, you know, Ascendance, which is clearly what the card is built for. Like, you know, run the two together. Like, I get that. That being said, I don't think this is doing enough for me in an elemental capacity, so I'm not playing in an elemental mage, so get it away. And by mage, I mean Shaman. Meridian's Last Stand. Draw 2 cards. Cost 1 less for each time a friendly character attacked this game. This could be little sigil pirates. This can be, you know, piranhas off of schooling. This can be all kinds of things. This can be one of your characters, you know, your heroes having Wind Fury. If token Shaman takes off, Meridian's Last Stand is going to be one of the reasons why it takes off. Ritual of Power, Herald Alakir, get 2 1/1 elementals with Rush. Again, Alakir being an elemental, I don't know if we actually want to do, like, elemental stuff in Shaman with Alakir. But, like, this is kind of an okay card on its own. Getting 2 1/1 elementals with Rush is kind of the same as 1 mana, get 2 elementals with Rush, and then overload for the next turn. But you're also heralding Alakir, so you're getting a soldier, and the soldier is going to be next to the elementals with Rush, and it's going to give their attack to the elementals. So you can do some funny trades and do actually a lot of removal for 2 mana. And by a lot of removal, I mean at least 2 targets. That's pretty cool. Skywall Sentinel. What's cool about this thing is you play it. It's a 2 mana 0/3 taunt, Battlecry, Herald, Alakir, and you say to yourself, well, Schmoopy, it doesn't have any attack. What useless taunt is this? It's a 2 mana target dummy. Well, actually, the soldier that spawns next to it will give it its attack. So its attack will scale up as you've gone and you've done your heralding. Interesting that this is also a elemental, but I probably don't want to play it in elemental shaman, especially if I'm not playing the big guy. Air support, Battlecry. Give a friendly minion Mega Wind Fury. It can't attack heroes. And it's 4 mana. It's a 5 mana 5/5. This looks bad. I'm sure there's some way to take advantage of this card, but this seems like a card that's making itself a puzzle just to make itself a puzzle. Ceremonial Clash. Summon a random 3, 2, and 1 cost minion. Overload 1. It's a lot of value for 4 mana, 5 mana. Probably a good arena card. Stormring is a 4 mana 7/7. Death Rattle. Unlock your overloaded mana crystals. It has overload 3. Oh, so you play this on curve and then it dies. You don't have any overloaded mana crystals, but if it does survive, you get to swing face with it and you have overloaded mana crystals. Yeah, all right. I'm not super convinced, but like, you could do worse. All right, Cho'Gall, Mastermind. Colossal 2. Your arms and soldiers destroy minions in the enemy's deck instead. So when this drops, Cho'Gall's arm that starts as a 1 mana 1/1 says at the end of your turn, destroy the minion to the right to gain +2/+2. Instead, that would be if Cho'Gall is up, the that would be the minions in your opponent's deck. So you could start milling their deck. Malorica? After you discard a minion, summon a copy of it. What an interesting effect. It is a 7 mana 7/7 dragon, so it's going to be really expensive to get down, and typically you don't want anything that's more expensive than Soul Barrage in the deck, or else you're going to end up expired merchanting this card instead of Soul Barrage. I'm going to see it, though. It's going to be like degenerate deck building, but I'll slam my WoW down when required. Duke of Below. It's a 4 mana 2/2 with Rush. It has +2/+2 for each card you've discarded this game. We're kind of moving away from the disco portion of how we end up playing Burnlock. So I think the Disco Giant is going to be, with Rush, is going to be too slow for this year. That being said, I do find it a little frustrating that they keep going back to the discard synergies. Cursed Chains. It's a 2 mana. Take control of an enemy minion until the end of their turn. It can't attack this turn. So you steal something. It can't attack. It's like you steal something that you think is going to make a nice taunt, right? Like you steal a big taunt and you're like, all right, you got to kill your taunt or don't kill your taunt. And then they're going to get their minion back again. But for the time being, the little switcheroo, I think it's going to be okay in Arena. I don't think it's good in Constructed. Eldritch Tentacles deal 3 damage to all minions. Repeat this with 1 less damage. So this deals 3, and then deals 2, and then deals 1. For 6 mana. 6 AoE for 6 mana. I think there are worse cards you could run. I don't know if we ever run this on purpose. It is Shadow, so we can tutor it. I don't know. My instinct tells me that it's like kind of an okay clear, but like my other instinct is you have Defile, you have Domino Effect, you have other better clears. This is a fine discover, but maybe not the droids we're looking for. Shrine of Twilight. We herald Cho'Gall, and we draw a card. It's 4 mana and it's 2 durability. I guess if you really want to pop some eggs, this is a way you could do it. Rafam's Last Stand. Deal 2 damage to random enemy minions, and it upgrades each turn. I think somebody's going to run this in their Reno lock. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but they're going to be obsessed with having it in the mulligan, and it just ramping up and ramping up and ramping up, and waiting for that perfect moment to smite something. Ocular Occultist. Ocular Occultist. It's a 3 mana 3/6 taunt with Battlecry. Choose a card in your hand to discard. This might be one of the second best cards to ever be printed by Disco. Can you imagine this thing finding and discounting exactly, or discarding exactly what you want? Not only being tempo forward, but also can either choosing between burn or more tempo. This card, I think, is going to be seeing some play in burn lock for sure. It's funny how many 3-drops we keep collecting. Disposable Alkalites is a spell that basically functionally makes it Bone Web Egg, but spell on the front and random tokens on the back. When you play or discard this, summon 2 random 1-cost minions. There you go. Same as Bone Web Egg. Shadowspawn Disciple, Battlecry Herald Cho'Gall, Death Rattle, restore 3 health to your hero, and it's a 2-mana 2/1. I would probably play my Mistress of Mixtures if it also produced a little Cho'Gall soldier and also had other effects, very tempo forwards. The healing is not that bad. Yeah, I would check it out. All right, warrior cards are Ragnaros, the Great Fire, Colossal 2. At the end of your turn, trigger your Death Rattles. So as you're heralding up your Ragnaros, his arms are getting bigger and bigger. He's getting cut. He's getting swole. His arms say Death Rattle. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy minion. And again, I've seen this combined with Dios a lot today. That has been pretty fun. So it's dealing 32 or dealing 16. It's not just dealing a couple. Looked like a good card. Should be fun. Commander Geddon, Battlecry. Instead of drawing each turn, discover a card from your deck. It costs 3 less and destroy the others, and it's a 7-mana 7/7. At some point, you're going to be top-hit decking, and it's not going to matter what you're discovering. I like that, tracking is good. Tracking is a good card. OG tracking was good. But Schmoopy, what if you get rid of something you need? Well, I mean, that's bad luck, but you were probably not drawing it anyway. Right? So, this is not a downside of, yeeting the other cards, destroying the other cards necessarily. And it comes with Mana Cheat. I think it's just a little bit too greedy because it doesn't have Rush or Taunt right off the bat. It's not creating any kind of a threat. It's a little expensive. Decimation, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. It's improved for each minion on the battlefield. So this could be deal 14 for 6, in theory. Pretty expensive for the effect, even if it does have a top end that is not necessarily in the same vein as other AoE. But, we have Sanitize in this format. Destructive Blaze. After this survives damage, summon a Disruptive Blaze. Death Rattle. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy. And you can take this elemental and you can slap it with a spammy Arcanist. And you can sit there for 14 turns as Destructive Blaze gets cooked by Disruptive Blaze. Gets cooked by Disruptive Blaze. That could be fun. Not good, though. Not good. Scorching Ravager. It's a dragon. It's a 4-mana 4/3. It heralds Ragnaros, and it gives the soldier Rush. The soldier of Ragnaros has the same death rattle as the hands. Deal 2 damage to the random enemy minion, to a random enemy. So it'll have Rush. It can trade, and then also it can blow up, and hopefully that damage hits another minion or hits face, depending on what your goals are. Yeah, I could see this being pretty okay. Erupting Volcano. I don't know why this exists. 3-mana 3/3. Deal 3 damage. Randomly split among enemies. If you've played a fire spell this turn, deal 3 more. Maybe it's yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's very good. Torch. 1 mana. Deal 8 damage to a damaged minion. Return this to its hand with any excess damage. So you basically get to keep torching something. You get to keep torching something as long as it is a damaged minion. The damage is going to be pretty a pretty steep bar in some cases if you don't find yourself able to deal any damage to something. But the fact that this is repeatable is also quite something. So I like that it's repeatable, but it is a little bit too niche. It's very warrior. Logosia's Last Stand. 5 mana, give a minion Death Rattle. Summon a random minion from your hand. I mean, I wouldn't play Talanji's better spell than this on purpose. I'm definitely not playing this on purpose in any format. Cataclysmic War Axe. 3 mana, 3/2. Battlecry, Herald Ragnaros. So when you herald, you're going to create a soldier of Ragnaros, and depending on where you're at in the heralding, you know, you'll be dealing more damage, better stats. You get the idea. It's basically Fiery War Axe with the little twerp stapled next to it. Yeah, fine. Shearing Fisher. Deal 1 damage to all minions. Give your hero +3 attack this turn. It's fire and it's 2 mana. I think we have better clears personally. Deathwing Worldbreaker is a 10 mana, 12 armor hero. Equipping it gets you 12 armors. Choose to unleash 1 Cataclysm. Herald twice to upgrade. So you keep heralding and you can get yourself a 12/12 dragon, or you can get yourself 5 legendaries, legendary dragons. They go into your deck. They cost 1. That's a greedy angle. You can deal 4 damage to all enemy minions. That's going to be very popular. And you can destroy the highest health minion. And the hero is get 5 attack this turn with 4 2 mana. I think Deathwing looked great today. Not just the beautiful art, but also, you know, it's a ton of recovery into a ton of removal if this gets to survive long enough that you get to play it. I mean, it looks strong. It's going to be strong in Standard. It's kind of like a Reno Lone Ranger 2.0 if you think about it. That's how Copper put it. Warmaster Blackhorn. We've already talked about this card. Frick this card. Ultraxion. Ultraxion is a 6 mana, 6/7. Battlecry, herald your colossal, and reduce Deathwing's cost by 1. We herald to improve. So if we draw it late amongst the heralding, it can really discount Deathwing, so you can make other plays the same turn that you Deathwing. I don't think I'm playing this on purpose, but it does herald my colossal. So whatever colossal I have, I do get the benefit of what I'm, you know, I do get the benefit of that extra herald effect of making a soldier and then also gaining a benefit of some kind. Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. It is decent stats for the cost, and the effect is pretty okay. All right. Varanoth is a 6 mana, 6/6 that says Battlecry. If the total cost of your starting minions was 100, split 100 stats among minions in your deck. Okay, it's not an end of turn effect, chat. This is a Battlecry, and I can speak from experience having managed the Born to be Wild listener series before. There's a challenge that we did that was like make a deck exactly 40 mana, and going through and counting all of the minions to make sure you got the math right. I know they're going to have like a little thing for this. This is a card that is not good. It's not meant to be good. It's meant to be there as a deck building challenge to some real creative types. And not every card has to be good. And so I kind of like that this is openly trying to recruit other interest from people who are not necessarily just try-harding and playing Hearthstone for the fun of it. Somebody could find this very rewarding, especially if they play it. The Battlecry, it being a Battlecry, is brutal, but still. I think it's a cool card. It's not a good card. Again, Cursed King. This card also sucks. It's a 4 mana, 5/4. Not bad. While holding this, if the rest of your hand is either even or add, transform into the Worgen King. The Worgen King says it's a 4 mana, 6/5. Upgrade your starting hero power. It costs 1. So if you're a Imbue Mage, it makes you Odd Mage, and it makes your hero power cost 1. I don't know if we then changed... if we then changed hero powers, if it would stay reduced. My instinct says no, it would not. So what kind of decks are we running this Gen in? Maybe even Shaman, but I think the deck that you want to be hero powering early and also later, but, it's not necessarily a meta where Infinite Taunt is actually any good. You might want to play it in Even Warrior. If Even Warrior is a real deck, I know somebody's going to play it in Even Warrior. I think Even Warrior is kind of mid. We'll talk about reverts and nerfs another day. But yeah, I think this card's bad. I think this card's slow. The cards that want to use the hero powers enough that they get real value from this are using it early and don't want to spend mana playing this card. Grand Giant is a 9 mana 8/8 that reduces that minion's cost by the cost of the last card you played. It's not like fake cost where it's like, oh, I played my Mountain Giant. That reduces my Grand Giant by 12. No, that's not how that works. This card sucks. I think the best thing you can do is like Speaker Stomper into one of these, but like, ugh. Survivalist is a 9 mana 6/6 and has immune when you control no other minions. That's kind of a cool card. I don't think it's good, but like, it's a cool card. Sticky Bomb Saboteur. This is what every Reno Shaman is going to be shoving in their tech pile because they hate people. Battlecry, give your opponent a 2-cost Sabotage. Cards next to it cost 1 more. People are going to be desperate to get rid of the Sabotage. I think this is going to be less effective than we think it is, but it's going to be kind of like Framester. People just sort of jam Framester mindlessly, and Framester doesn't even really do that much. People are going to do that with Sticky Bomb Saboteur. Faceless Replicator. It's a 3 mana 3/3 with elusive. It says Death Rattle. Transform the minion that killed this into a Faceless Replicator. So it's very much like the Sporling, like the old Sporling from Outcast of Outlands. Or, yeah, something like that. The Outlands. Sporling would damage a minion, and then damaging the minion would turn the minion into a Sporling, so that Sporling could do in another Sporling. It's good to make for some really funny trading in Arena. Otherwise, I would not play it on purpose. The Warlock. I see this as a second coming of Clownfish. It's a 2 mana 1/1 with Battlecry. Your next Murloc that costs 3 or less costs health instead of mana. Yum. Especially when you combine with Scargill or Clownfish or other fun ways to discount Murlocs, this could be pretty okay. We like leveraging our health. 4 mana 4/4 Earthen Drake. At the end of your turn, deal 4 damage to the enemy hero, and it's an elemental dragon. Okay, sure. I guess we try to play this in like end of turn Paladin. Yeah. Twisted Monstrosity is a 5 mana 6/5 with elusive and taunt. And each turn it's in your hand, it swaps between 2 random bonus effects. You could get Rush, Lifesteal. You could get Taunt, Divine Shield. Seems okay to me. A little expensive, and it's also a beast and not a dragon. So that's got that going for it. It's a beast. We're never playing this. 3 mana 4/3 Darkscale Broodmother. Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, refresh 2 mana crystals. Between this and Desert Nest Matron, I think you could see some really interesting stat dumps. I'm really hoping that there's a mid-range dragon druid out there, but I think I'm coping. Selfless Protector is a 2 mana 2/6 taunt that takes 1 damage from all sources. Yikes. This is going to play more like a 2 mana 2/2 taunt. It's not playable. 2 mana 2/2 Shadow Informant. Battlecry. Discover a spell from your class. Swaps each turn. So sometimes it's your class, sometimes it's a different class. Probably too slow and not very good. Bronze Gatekeeper. 8 mana 3/7. At the end of your turn, summon a 6/6 Elemental Dragon with Divine Shield. Ew. This is going to be annoying in Arena because we were not going to have an efficient way to get rid of this card. That being said, in Constructed, you can absolutely remove this pretty efficiently. Drakion Mongrel is a 7 mana 8/6 with a Death Rattle. Summon 2 4-cost minions. I think it's going to slap an Arena. You just drop you drop a giant body and they have to remove the body, and now there's 2 more targets they have to handle. Yikes. Envoy of the End, which is a 5 mana 5/4 taunt that heralds your Colossal. Depending on the Colossals, this could be pretty good, but by and large, I feel like the Colossals we can herald. The Herald activates effects that are usually pretty much worth it. So, interesting. Making a soldier. It's not just these stats. It's also making a soldier. It's also heralding, so you're getting the Herald effect. That's pretty solid. Scaled Lancer is a 4 mana 6/6 dragon that gives all enemy minions taunt. This can be kind of helpful, especially if your opponent's trying layering things behind their taunts. So now everything is at the same level. So even though you can't hit face, you'd be trading down anyway. And so you trade down and you take out the thing that was hiding behind the taunt. I think this is kind of a tech card. I think this is like one of the last cards you end up picking in Arena just because like you don't care and you just see the stats and you're okay with it. I'd have to see what decks interact with taunt differently before this makes any kind of constructed impact. Battlefield Blastmaster, Battlecry, choose a spell in your hand to give +1 spell damage. I could see somebody running this. It's a spider tank. Like, it's not great. It's a 3-mana 3/4, but like, the spell damage might be relevant. Gemstone Hoarder, my god, is a 3-mana 3/4. Its Battlecry says choose a card in your hand to discard, death rattle, get it back. It costs 1 less. Obviously, we looked at this and we said, oh, this goes straight to Burnlock. This goes straight into discard Warlock. What a fantastic card for those decks, but it gets even worse, chat. What if you discard a Play Dead, and then you find a Play Dead, and you play the Play Dead on the Hoarder, and now you're getting a copy of Play Dead back, and then you can play Dead on the Hoarder that has the Play Dead and get a free Play Dead back. You just keep spamming Play Deads, and then also you have like Aerosmith up, so Aerosmith is pinging spells, like pinging damage left and right while you're doing this, and also we have the very funny OTK we can do later where we drop down like a Mine or a Cobalt Sand Trooper or a Lepernon. And you've played so many Play Deads triggering on the Hoarder that you play your 3-mana spell that replays all 1-mana things. Play Dead can only target friendly minions. You blow out your opponent that way. There's going to be this is going to get cracked in half, just the silliness that it does. It's not a crazy bar to reach that like, oh, death rattle, get it back. It costs 1 less. It's not a downside. Frostbitten Imp is a 2-mana 5/3 that has Battlecry, freeze this, and it's a demon. It's really bad unless you evolve it or rat it. Sheltered Survivor is a 2-mana 2/3 Battlecry. Choose a card in your hand to shuffle into your deck and draw a card. You know what? Hydralisk convinced me that this card is actually pretty okay, and that, like, let's say you're playing a greed pile and you know you're never going to use the really super uber greedy card you have in your hand. You can play this and choose to send that card back into the deck and get something completely new. Yeah, I could see people seeing the utility of this. I can already tell from like the number of stars people have given it that like it's going to see a lot of play. Like you're going to see it in like Reno piles for sure. Carrier Whelp is a 1-mana 1/2 dragon that has Battlecry. Get a random dragon that costs 3 or less. If dragon anything is anything, then you're going to see this card played. It's an okay 1-drop. And Twilight Egg. Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 Whelp, gains +1/+1 at the start of your turns. So the longer Twilight Egg sits on board, the more it marinates, the bigger the Whelp that pops out. Okay. What are my thoughts on the set? The set reminds me a lot of Festival of Legends. Festival of Legends, when you looked across the set, you could tell which cards were made for constructed. You could tell which cards were made to be fun. You could tell which cards were made to be creative. There was no cards that you looked around and you're like, what the hell are they doing here? Like, why did they print this thing? I'd say with minus 1 or 2 cards here or there, the entire set feels like it has a purpose behind it. The really like cards that might not like seem the best are at least good arena cards and would probably perform very well there. Whereas the good cards seem really, really, really good. I think Herald is going to be a fun effect. I think that we are going to be in a perfect storm in Wild of different things all hitting at once. We've got Wild balance changes that we're still sort of seeing the outcomes of. We're going to be having the revert list, and we're going to talk about reverts when those come and hit us next. I'll do a video on that tomorrow night. But also we have this, like, we have the new cards coming, and the new card people are going to try new stuff in the new cards. Like, you know, we're going to play the new cards on ladder for a hot minute. All of that is like a perfect storm of just like, oh man, like how does the meta react to some of the cards that are going to be coming back because of the reverts? How does that now dovetail with the new cards? How does all this find its way in a meta that's already been overturned because of the hits taken by Burnlock and Egg Warlock functionally getting deleted? I know, it's going to be fascinating. So if you enjoyed this content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing on my YouTube channel. And tomorrow, let's talk about some reverts.